In this video, I'll show you how to use store leads in order to be able to find pretty much any e-commerce company in the world and to be able to filter for the right companies based on the technologies they use, the kind of monthly sales that they have, or any sort of other custom requirements that you typically will have to manually research for on each individual website of a company. I'll show you how you can do that at scale inside of the store leads database. Now, for those of you that may not be aware, store leads basically provides you with a fat database that looks something like this. Depending on the pricing package, it will always vary in terms of how many companies you can export, but I believe in most of them, you can just export an unlimited number of companies, which is another perk of using store leads. But simply put, what we would have over here, if we go from top to bottom, is a bunch of filters that enable you to filter through the e-commerce stores. At the very top, you have the search filter, which enables you to basically find the SEO searches and the SEO buzzwords that are located on a company website. For example, if I type in pet toys, it will come up with every single business that it found with pet toys mentioned on their website, and this will be 13,000 businesses, which is, well, once again, like a pretty good thing to do. If you have some really niche searches, you can just create a lot of niche searches for your target market and then reach out to this company saying like, oh, hey, I saw you sell pet toys, right? For instance. So that's the first capability. After that, you can also have a choice of picking your platform. Depending on your pricing package, this will vary, but in my case, I've just got access to just Shopify stores. But bear in mind, you can also get access to WooCommerce, Magento, or whatever other platform all of these e-commerce stores are located on. The status enables you to tick whether the store is password protected. In other words, it's just being built right now, or if it's active. Of course, just make sure in most cases that you tick on active to make sure that you reach out to businesses that, are already selling. You also have lists over here. So lists will be like any sort of lists that you've created previously, and I'll talk later on about how you can create different lists. You also have integration companies, contacts, and leads. This will enable you to connect your HubSpot CRM or your Salesforce CRM, and in most cases, you can just look up contacts to make sure to see if they already exist in your CRM, in which case you probably don't want to export them, or once again, this is just basically helping you to connect this to your CRM. 99% of you wouldn't care about this, so I'll just skip past this section. Created at basically just shows you, I believe, when the store was created. So once again, if you want to go after new stores and offer them like product design or UX design or whatever, you could basically filter for when this was, when this store was created. And once again, similar thing here for like when it was created as well. Categories is where it gets a bit more interesting. So if you scroll down here, you'll have hundreds of different categories for the e-commerce stores. If you click on apparel, it will give you subsections within that category as well. So for instance, if I just want to go after eyewear companies like Ray-Ban, for instance, they will be in the eyewear category. So once again, the beauty of this platform is that it enables you to filter for subsections as well. So you can not just go for apparel because that's, quite broad. And you can go into subsections like swimwear, for instance. So that's another cool filter here. And now briefly, let's talk about apps. So apps, basically any Shopify apps that are installed on the company website. Worth noting, it's only relevant for Shopify stores. So don't worry about this if you're not going after Shopify stores, but if you are going after Shopify stores, you should be able to see every single app that's installed in it, like Klarna, MailChimp, whatever. You get the idea. Right, so moving on, I just really want to go through every single filter because I think it's so dummy proof that 99% of the people watching this could actually understand how to use the database afterwards. Reviewed apps is another cool one. You can basically go and you will get a link to where all of the reviews are for this specific company. So you can filter here for, let's say, Judge Me product reviews, in which case you'll be taken to you'll have like a separate column with a link to the Judge Me product reviews for that company. And once again, if you know me pretty well from some of the other videos, you would know already how you can scrape those product reviews and how you can then reach out to the companies quoting this product review saying, oh, hey, this thing mentioned long delivery times. This is where we come in and we can speed up the delivery times for you, something of that sort. So reviewed apps are really cool if you want to filter for companies that have, a lot of reviews so that you can analyze them one way or another. You can use that using AI or anything of that sort. Not going to jump into it right now, but I might do that in a separate video. Then next up, we'll do technologies. So technologies are basically any technologies that typically you would use built with or Wappalizer or any other funky Chrome extension to find. All of them are here as well for free. So you can filter for companies that have Google ads, Facebook ads, TikTok ads, anything else, like if they offer Apple Pay, Google Pay, all of those will help you narrow down the search as well. I recommend checking out for some of the other tools that could be complementary to your solution. So for example, if say you offer global shipping, let's say you are shipping provider where you have like a shipping API that you sell, in that case, just check and make sure that they have like some sort of competitor tool installed, in which case you can call them out on the use of that tool already. So I think that could be quite an interesting one. And similarly as well, so of course you can just filter for making sure that, let's say if you integrate with Klaviyo, you probably want to make sure that Klaviyo is installed here as well, so that you can say, oh, hey, and we integrate with Klaviyo, which you already use in your tech stack. Social media and contact info, this is something super important. If you're reaching out via LinkedIn or if you're reaching out via email or whatever, the chances are you want to know that they have an email address on their website, because that will mean that they have an active email domain. And for that, you can then find, you can basically guess almost the full name of the people. So here you just basically need to tick to make sure that they have an email and they also have a LinkedIn page, especially for those of you that are reaching out B2B. I know a lot of people, and this is something I'll do further videos on, so make sure to subscribe to the channel. Instagram is a good channel as well to reach out to these to a lot of the smaller companies. You can also automate, X messaging, you can automate LinkedIn messaging, WhatsApp messaging as well. So all of those will help you just filter for those, making sure that they have the relevant phone numbers or LinkedIn pages or whatever it is. Once again, employees, I personally don't really trust this filter too much, so I wouldn't spend too much time on it. But once again, you can filter for that here. Estimated sales, very similar here as well. I assume that most of you would want to be going after the higher estimated sales thresholds, but up to you. I would say just make sure that it's over 50K in most cases, which will screen out a lot of stores. So that's something you can filter for as well. And that's just like how much revenue, how much sales this company is making, I believe in a year, right? So this will all be over here. Then the plan, once again, this is not really important, but if you want to go after people that are paying for Shopify Plus, which is symptomatic of them being, like a big spender with Shopify, then once again, you can filter for that. We also have products sold, and that's just the amount of SKUs. So how many stock keeping units do they have? How many like different products do they have mentioned on their website? Once again, could be good for you if you're selling something like shipping, I guess, or maybe even payment services. But yeah, that could be quite fancy here. Features, this is pretty cool as well. I haven't tested this out too much, but you can basically just have a look and make sure that they have, like, let's say, do they offer international shipping? In which case, they may need to use your service. Do they have a new Shopify checkout since 2022? In which case, once again, a new checkout will include a payment gateway, a shipping provider, and everything of that sort. Once again, I don't know who really uses this. If they offer free returns, you can filter for that. If signature is required upon the delivery of the package as well, like all of these can get really niche, and you can filter for yourself. I believe there are like hundreds of filters here. You can get the idea here from just combining 5 or 6 of these signals. You will have a choice of 5 or 6 opening lines in your email just from, combining 2 or 3 of these different filters here. Region, once again, I'm sure you know where regions are. It's just most likely the continent where the company is based. Also, there is the country where they're based, the currencies that are installed on their website. And next up, let's talk about tags. Tags are something that we would need to probably exclude later down the line, unless you want to go after any e-commerce stores that are trending on Twitter or TikTok or something like that, in which case there are not many that are trending, so it's quite depressing. But remember this one thing, which is super important. Exclude dropshipper and print-on-demand tags, because the chances are most of these people would not be able to afford an additional plugin or API or SaaS tool or whatever you want to sell to them. So typically we exclude dropshippers, print-on-demand stores, because we don't think that they're a good fit for most of the companies that we run campaigns for into the e-commerce space. Languages, once again, it's quite self-explanatory. What languages do they have on their website? Let's say if they only have English, you can go after them and say, hey, I saw you only have English. How about we translate your website? Or like we install this plugin that will translate your website, right? Domain type, you probably want to have a custom domain, because platform domain will be Shopify dot, which shows that they can't afford the main domain most of the time, which is quite depressing. So once again, we just need to go after custom domains. Top level domains, let's have a look as well. Top level domains, once again, not that important, but if it's .com, .store, .shop, .co.uk, whatever, like all of these could be relevant, I guess, in some cases, but they're not. I've personally not used them. Sales channels, a really cool one as well. Sales channels enables you to filter for where they get the traffic from, so that once again, you can call them out and say, hey, I noticed you have a lot of sales coming in from DoorDash, but you have no sales coming in from Order Champ, for instance, right? Something of that sort. You can filter through that as well. Shipping to countries, you can tick the exact countries where the company is shipped to already. Shipping carriers will be the list of shipping providers that they currently use, and you get the idea. Then after that, theme vendor, I have no idea what that means. Oh, okay, interesting. I don't really understand what this means. If you understand, maybe just comment something down below. And then the theme here, I have no idea what that means, but it's not important as well. but you can see all of that for yourself. So essentially, this is every single filter, and I tried to explain it to the best of my ability. Hope this was useful. So that's the first thing you will do. This is like the most basic entry-level thing that you could possibly do, which is just filtering for companies. Now, right now, you're probably thinking, okay, cool, but that doesn't look too sophisticated. What, I just filter one by one and like it will just narrow all of this down? And yeah, you're right. It's not that complicated. It's very simple. So if you want to spice it up and do it in a more advanced way, all you need to do is click on this button in the top left-hand corner, which took me like a month to figure out what the hell that is. Click on advanced, and here you can basically add a bunch of advanced filters. This will enable you to basically stack different signals and stack different filters together. So for instance, the status could be active for the store. You can then add a filter that the platform is Shopify, and this way you know that it's going to be an active Shopify store. And then you can add on filter again, and you can scroll down over here to, let's have a look, where is it? Let's say their estimated monthly visits is over 10,000. So straight away you would know that it's a Shopify store that's active with over 10,000 monthly visitors. And you get the idea. On top of that, you can then stack all the other signals that we talked about already. So we can then talk about something like how many images do they have per product? And let's say they have one image, in which case we can install a plugin that automatically, helps out with that. So you get the idea. Over here, you're just able to filter for different things and just stack them together. Now, or would broaden the search results. What we mean by that is over here, if I go to the very top, you have or not or. So if I click over here, or basically just broadens the results. So you can have platform is Shopify, or platform is, so for example. So as I mentioned, these 4 different options are pretty self-explanatory, just explaining how you can stack together all the different filters. Next up, we have the query search, which I believe I already showed you, but simply put, you can just type in the search over here any random thing that you want to find like exact matches on the websites for. So this is like SEO text. For example, I just typed in pet jumper, and now we have every single company with pet jumper mentioned on the website. Now let's talk about the best cold email campaigns that we've put together to date. And specifically, I'll go through 4 of the most rated ones. So the first one that comes to mind is platform migrations. The way that you can filter for that is if you go into the advanced settings over here, you can scroll to the very bottom, and there will be something that will be called the last platform change, last platform change at, and you can basically then filter for when this change happened. So for instance, in 2024. And if you filter through here, you can basically find every single business that has changed their platform. So let's say they changed from Magento to Shopify from 2024 till 2025. And this will filter for every single business here so that you can reach out to them with a relevant message. And obviously at that point, like since they recently changed their platforms, the chances are they're not 100% set on all of their providers just yet. So once again, maybe that you can fit into the picture there. Second thing is competitor takedowns. Competitor takedowns are quite brutal in some cases, but I like to run such campaigns sometimes. This way, when we add filters, you can basically filter for technologies, and that's the most obvious option. So if a company right now has any technologies installed to compete directly with you, so let's say you basically provide a cheaper customer support bot or something like that than Zendesk, you can reach out to every single company that has Zendesk installed on their website and say, hey, I noticed you use Zendesk, but the chances are you want something cheaper. Here we are, right? So this is a typical competitor takedown where you can filter for that. There are some other funky ones where you've got the product reviews, which I talked about earlier, but essentially the way that you will work with product reviews, if I go over here, I think it should be reviews. So you can filter for any sort of reviews that these company has, and you can select like for example, this company has a minimum of 10 reviews on reviews.io, and you can then reach out to the company saying, like quoting a specific review. Once again, if you know Clay, the chances are this would be a super easy thing to do. And then tech use callouts, we already talked about this. You can just filter for the technology and just say, hey, I noticed you use this technology. And then fourthly, query searches, which is good for niche businesses. And we talked about this just now, where you can just type in like any random stuff here, and you can reach out to a company saying, hey, I noticed you sell pet food, but you don't happen to be running TikTok ads right now, something of that sort. So this will help you with query searches. Now, worth noting on the pricing side of things, StoreLeads does increase its pricing every couple of months, every quarter or so. So keep that in mind. The price that you can see on the screen right now will probably be way higher by the time that you get a paid plan. But in most cases, if you want unlimited data, it will cost you $250 a month. This will give you access to 2 stores only. So to 2 e-commerce platforms only. So that will be, let's say, Shopify and whatever other platform you want to choose, like WooCommerce. It will give you access to all the stores on the more expensive plans. It also gives you CRM enrichment, something talked about, whereby you can sync your CRM with store leads to see what technologies each one of your target accounts uses, and then you pay additionally for users as well. Worth noting that you can get cheaper data using Fiverr. So if you want to reach out, if you want to get the same data but from a random freelancer that basically just goes and filters this inside of their own store leads account, you can get that for like $50 per list on Fiverr. So you just keep that in mind. You can go on Fiverr, you can go on Upwork. A lot of people will be able to basically give you the exact same list from their paid store leads account. You can also save data into lists. So once again, that's quite self-explanatory, but if you click on the star over here, this will help you then save any data into lists. You can also download search results using this download button. You can also click on export in the top right corner, and that will help you to export all the relevant columns into a CSV format for you. And essentially, that's pretty much everything. You can also, like we talked about that, there is also a webhook feature. Once again, I'm not going to jump into this into too much detail, but basically what you will have to do is whenever you create a list, you can basically just click on the star button, create a list, and then when you have a list, there is a button to click on add webhook. And you can basically just copy and paste the webhook and send all of this data into Clay. And this will enable you to run evergreen campaigns, whereby as soon as a company fits all of this criteria, they will be sent into a Clay table, and the outreach will happen automatically at that point. Now, if you watched the video this far, the chances are you understand the power of e-commerce data, but the next step and the next hurdle that you need to get past is, okay, you have this abundance of data points, but how do you put them all together? How do you stack all of these filters, signals, and all that fun stuff? How do you find the people working at these companies? And how do you send them a personalized email to every single one of them, or a personalized LinkedIn message to every single ICP lead at those target companies? And the answer 99% of the time is you probably can't do it just yet, but you can learn how to do it in about a couple of hours, maybe 2-3 hours. I do say that it will take you 5 hours to become a real Clay expert, meaning that you're extremely good at Clay. And if you're not sure what Clay is, I'll make sure to loop a video straight after this. But essentially, if you want to take me up on the cheapest and the best course for cold outreach at scale, this is everything that I know. I update it every single month. It only costs £100, which is about $120. We have over 100 different testimonials, and no, I'm not reading this off like a teleprompter or anything, because I don't have that at the moment. All I have is like a little fancy whiteboard. So yeah, if you want to take me up on that, just go have a read of, I believe it's about 100 testimonials or so on here. And if you're not convinced, well, maybe it's not for you. But either way, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like the video, make sure to comment something nice or comment a question, anything on that sort down below. And I shall see you in the next video. So please subscribe to the channel, and I'll make sure to link a video straight after this, which shows you how to use Clay so that you can get quite comfortable with Clay, because the channel, you will answer all of your e-commerce outreach questions that you have after figuring out how to use store leads. Anyways, I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one. Cheers.